I am so excited. Just kidding. I would never say that because I learned from you that you do not start anything with the phrase, I am so excited, which we're going to talk about. But truly, I am very honored that you said yes to my very first interview for my company newsletter called The Short Story. And we break down 5 bite-sized pieces of information on one topic. And today's topic is video, which you were an expert at. I love that you started out as a news anchor in St. Louis, correct, for News 4.
Well, I started in Missoula, Montana. That was my first market. But yes, I worked in St. Louis for many years.
Okay, so how many years were you an on-camera anchor?
I was in the news department for over 11 years. And then I was on a lifestyle show where we still talked about the news, but it was more of a personality-driven show for 4 years after that. And then I launched my own TV show after that for a little over a year.
Okay, so now you're getting a lot of attention on social media as a video coach, and you have a course, which we're going to talk all about, but I just recently discovered you from a friend who sent me your TikTok and was like, you have got to follow this woman. She's so amazing, and like she gives the best tips, and I was just immediately hooked. So aside from just your immediate likability, which you just have so much of, and I can't wait to talk more about that.
Well,
what I loved is that, well, I wonder, do you realize that what you're actually doing a lot of is teaching media training? And that's something, that's a term that we use in the PR world, like, oh, this person needs media training, or as a publicist, we often recommend to our clients, oh, you need media training. Is that something that you're conscious of?
Yes, because when I was on that lifestyle show, business owners would pay to be on it. The whole show wasn't paid, but a large majority of it was. And my job was to make it entertaining so that we could continue to grow our audience. We didn't want people to just pitch their products and their services and look like an infomercial. So I had to train those clients every day and produce segments that they liked, but that I also was proud of, and I knew the audience would engage with.
Is that something that you just learned on your own, or did you go through media training?
I learned on my own. I'd been in news for so long, and I also was a feature reporter for many years. And when I was a feature reporter, I never had scripts, and I was going out to places in the community, and I would have to make it really active and entertaining. And a lot of times those were also business owners, but it was the news department. We certainly didn't want that to look salesy. So I always had to make it entertaining and educational. That's what I did in news. And then that's what I did on the lifestyle show for 4 years.
Okay.
I just learned on location.
As you went, okay.
On the job, yes.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting to me because as I watch your videos, I mean, they're very short, and you're so good at giving really valuable information in a very digestible form. And I think that I was extremely drawn to that because I think with media training as it pertains to PR and, you know, being a publicist and representing actors and people who want to be on television, it gets very overwhelming very quickly. And I love how you have created just such value in just very quick little things, which anyway, we're going to get more into that. But I wanted to just say that anybody that lands on your page might feel, because I felt this way, wow, like this woman just came out of nowhere. Like you kind of come across as this overnight success because I've watched your numbers like really start growing very quickly. And I love that you recently posted a video about the fact that you were not an overnight success. And I think that it's something that anybody who has tested out certain things on social platforms or different social platforms, or maybe they tried their hand at a podcast and it didn't work out or whatever, it can feel like everybody else is just like an immediate success. And so I'd love to hear more about that. And then in your video, you talk about how it really took you a while to find your voice and get the courage to just be yourself. And I'd love to know how you finally got the courage. Like, was it one thing that happened where you were just like, enough of this?
Yes, there are lots of things that happened. But when I was on television, I was comfortable. I mean, I didn't start that way. I was a very nervous fidgety, shaking live reporter when I was in Missoula, Montana. You should have seen my first live shot. It was ridiculous. But you just keep going and you get more comfortable being uncomfortable. And so with television, I got there, but I was always part of a team. I wasn't solo. I was part of a news team, or I was part of a personality, you know, on the lifestyle show. When I had my own show, I had a co-host. I was never solo. And when I got off television completely, for whatever reason, I never put two and two together. I didn't do a lot of video on social media, but I did have an online business. So I was, you know, I knew what that was all about. I knew how to write copy, you know, like you're talking to someone, and make it about benefits and results and not about pitching all the time. So I knew that part. And something in me just resisted Instagram. I wanted nothing to do with it. I was annoyed that I had to learn a new platform after mastering Facebook. And finally, I realized if you want to innovate and grow as a business owner or anyone on social media, you're just gonna have to go figure it out. And so this was in May of 2019 that I finally started to consistently post on Instagram. And I wanted to do video. I did not know that I was going to be a video coach. I started off doing inspiring videos, and I was trying to be very polished. And I looked like I was in a studio sometimes. I would go rent a space. And I mean, I took it very seriously, but I was trying so hard to look like this polished person. And it's funny because I was not that person on the lifestyle show or on the TV show that I launched. I was very quirky and I used all my little characters, but I was by myself now and I didn't have the guts to just go all out. I started to take a couple of online Instagram courses. I started to listen to some trainings, and I was sitting there banging my head up against the wall, asking myself, what's my thing? I wanted to rebrand myself and I couldn't figure out what my thing was. And one night I couldn't sleep, and it just hit me. I'm like, it's video. You've been doing video since you were a kid. It's video. And I started playing with that. Still looked really polished on Instagram, but I started to teach about video. And then I started to hear that I should be on TikTok. And I resisted that, but not for very long, because I learned that, you know, you got to go follow your fear if you want to get better. So I jumped on TikTok, and but I was the exact opposite of what I was on Instagram. I have 2 TikTok accounts. So my first TikTok account was all goofy, crazy me with my characters. And I started off with the lip dubs that, you know, people do.
Yeah.
And then I eventually started using my own voice and writing my own scripts. But I had like 280,000 followers at one time on that account. I never got one customer for my video coaching because I wasn't talking about video. You get what you put out there. And I started my second TikTok account in April. And that's when I started to do the video tips, but I still didn't feel comfortable for whatever reason. I could do it on Instagram, but on TikTok, it felt different. And I found myself looking at other people on TikTok, like we all do, and borrowing ideas from them. Except one night I borrowed an idea, as in I straight up copied this woman. And I didn't even realize, I guess looking back, I must have taken notes or something, because I didn't realize it was a viral video that I copied. And I didn't realize how much I copied it. And the video started to take off, and I got called out for it. And I was mortified. Not only did I get called out for, but I did. And if I'm really honest with you, I didn't want to take it down because it was doing so well. I was growing my account. And then the woman who originally did the video called me out. Now, she didn't call me out by name, but she did a whole TikTok about it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I almost just left TikTok completely. And then I thought, no, I had enough embarrassing moments happen on the first TikTok account with cringy videos and just people being rude. And I said, you're going to do the same thing you did on that video. You're going to learn from your mistake and you're going to move on. And so I vowed never to look at anybody else in my industry again on TikTok and Instagram. And that's when I went all in on merging the goofy me with the education me. And that's what you see now.
Wow.
But yes,
yeah.
it was a lot of trial and error and failing forward and embarrassing moments. It was.
And thank God you didn't leave TikTok, because I actually didn't know that story. So, you know, and someone sent me your TikTok, and that's just not what I saw when I found you. So if you had given up, then, you know, I would have never discovered you, and I wouldn't have been able to learn what you're teaching. I'm so curious though, that kind of brings me to everyone's talking about the social dilemma, the Netflix documentary right now. And my husband's in video games, which is also a very addictive thing, right? So we talk a lot about the addictiveness of social media and how you kind of manage your own psychological things around social. So how have you been able to do that, having had so many struggles throughout this experience? And obviously, as you, in your words, embarrassing moments. I mean, does it affect you emotionally still, or are you able to kind of take a step back?
It doesn't now, but in the beginning, the reason I was trying to come across as so polished and perfect was because I was so concerned with what other people thought about me. And when I was on TikTok on I did take a break from TikTok because I had a video go viral, and it went viral because it was very cringy. And so that experience is what got me to start using my own voice. I was lip dubbing and lip syncing all these things, and I was going all out trying to be, I was trying too hard is when I look back and look at it, I was like, you were trying so hard, but it was almost like I had to, because I was using other people's content. I was always lip syncing. So I was never using original content. I might take theirs and turn it into a different storyline, but it was so hateful, the stuff that people were saying about me. I had memes of me. I mean, people literally had me in their profile picture. Like they were kids. They were kids. I know. So this was probably in November, I'm thinking. And I might be wrong. It may have been December or January, but I took about a 2-month break from TikTok, and I came back in February. And I vowed to just do me and use my own voice. Now, this again was on the comedy TikTok account. Okay. And so, yes, it did affect me greatly and emotionally. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I've got teenagers making fun of me and it's affecting me. But when I got off, it let me just completely shut that down. And I got back to me, and I could see clearly and think clearly. And I thought, just get on there and do you, and let's just see what happens. And I never had that hate again. In fact, a lot of those people who were so mean came back and said, you're better than you've ever been before. Like,
that's amazing.
And I actually made fun of me as being the unfunniest woman on TikTok. When they were making fun of me, one of my first videos that I used my voice was me making fun of myself. I was a news anchor interviewing the unfunniest woman on TikTok. So that really helped me, and not take myself so seriously. That's what that experience got.
That's exactly right. I mean, even if you look at like the recent Chris Evans debacle with the photo, and I mean, he made a joke of it on Twitter, even though I'm sure he was mortified. And I think him being able to laugh at himself made everybody else just forgive him, So I think there's a lot of takeaway that there's a lot of value in that, I think.
Well, and that experience of being ridiculed when I got called out for copying, that's what it reminded me of. And I said, okay, I called myself out on that one. Now, I didn't do it right away when I copied, because it was my credibility that was getting hammered at that point. And so I had to take about a month. And then I remember a friend that I found on TikTok, I asked him what he thought about it. And he's like, absolutely, you should talk about it. And so now I talk about it all the time.
Right. Well, there's a very big difference, I think, from not taking what you've done seriously and not taking accountability and all of that. But then also being able to just kind of laugh at yourself and, move on. As I mentioned earlier, you are a genius at taking bite-sized content, but it's so value-packed. So I'm curious for business owners, because I think in your course, which we're going to talk about, I'm guessing that you teach business owners how to use video to get new customers or new clients or whatever. But what are your top tips for business owners that want to use video to actually make money, to get new customers or clients?
Well, the first thing that a business owner thinks they should do is pitch their product on camera. And that's the commercial. And I'm not saying you never do that, but the majority of the time you should not be pitching your product or your service. You should be educating, because if you want to build a bridge between a total stranger and getting a customer, you've got to build trust. And trust is built when you teach. I never pitch myself on my reels or my TikToks, actually. I just give tips. And I use it as a funnel. So you find me on TikTok, I tell you in my bio, go find me on Instagram, because there's a lot more opportunity to learn things on Instagram. And then they're going to know, like, and trust me. And when I do pitch, or when I do mention or show social proof of helping people that are much more likely to convert, as opposed to me just jumping on and always talking about why they should buy my thing.
Totally.
So that's number one.
That makes a lot of sense. Do you advise your students or even your audience on your social platforms to keep videos within a certain amount of time? Like,
I do, yes.
And what is that?
Well, this goes back from me being a news reporter, and they kept whittling down the amount of time we could have on air when we were out in the field. And when I first started, it was 2 to 2.5 minutes. By the time I left, it was a minute to a minute 15. And that's because we've got so many people out there who you just can't keep their attention. There's a reason why the viral videos on TikTok are most of the time, the majority of the time, between 12 and 15 seconds. And it's because the algorithm takes into consideration big time the amount of time, the average amount of time that people watch your video, the watch time. And people, they're less likely to watch the whole thing if it's past 15 seconds. So yes, right. When it comes to even a reel, because just recently they just expanded it so you can now post 30-second reels, I tell people it better be packed with information and visuals that are going to get that person to watch until the end, because reels is a carbon copy of TikTok. So the algorithm is probably the same, and you want to make sure people are watching until the end. So on our reels, I'll tell people, try not to go longer than 20 seconds. Same with TikTok, but even better if it's 15 seconds. On an IGTV, I say you can go 3 to 4 minutes, but I usually try to keep mine to 1.5 minutes, just because, and that's with a lot of visuals.
So 1.5 minutes is the longest video that you would ever do yourself?
No. I have 4 and 5 minute videos on IGTV, but I try to keep it around the 1.5 minutes to 2 minute ballpark.
Right, and you do talk about breaking up your videos so that people will watch longer and all of that. So I want to talk a little bit about editing, because I know for myself, this is where it's just the most daunting thing to think about. And it's the reason why I never went on TikTok, because I thought, how long is it going to take me to actually learn how to edit these stupid videos? They're not stupid, but you know what I mean? Like, I just felt so overwhelmed. So how long did it take you to get really good at editing? And do you edit? I'm assuming you edit your own videos, or do you now have a team of people that helps with that?
Oh no, it's just me. I edit everything.
Okay.
Well, I learned how to edit in school. I wasn't very good at it, but I learned how to edit in school. And then I had to edit on the job in my first 2 markets I was in. But that's
for anybody that wants to be an anchor, can we just talk about the fact that you literally had to do it all? I mean, you weren't just like a talking head on television.
No.
Oh my gosh. Sounds like the hardest.
It is not a glamorous gig, let me tell you. Yeah. Unless you're at the network level or top 10 market, you don't have hair and makeup people. You don't have a wardrobe. Like that's, but that's what I like about TikTok and Reels. Now, Reels is still glitchy and it's a little messy when it comes to using the app to edit, but you're not editing. That's my point. You're shooting separate clips that allow you to put different shots in there. And it teaches someone who knows nothing about video and editing the bare basics of editing. And that's why I encourage people to jump on TikTok and jump on Reels, just because it will start to get them introduced to the concept. Now, with that said, I don't edit inside those apps because it's a lot easier to edit and to repurpose your video if you edit in an outside app and then upload it to the platforms.
So is there a particular editing app that you love, that you recommend?
I started off, and I encourage people who've never edited before to start with something like iMovie or Video Shop, because it's very simple. But then when you want to add the bells and whistles, then you want to move on to an app like InShot, InShot, or Video Leap is another one. There's some other good ones out there too. Those are just the ones I'm familiar with. But yes, I use Video Leap. That's the one I use.
So something that you've mentioned a couple of times throughout this conversation is the algorithm. And something that I teach my clients and my audience on social media is that it's so important not to put all of your eggs in these platforms that you do not own. Because I noticed that you even posted this whole TikTok craziness with like, if they're going to cancel it, no, they're not, or where does it stand now? You know what I mean? And I'm sure, because you have a lot of followers on TikTok, more than you have on Instagram. So I guess the question is, what do you think about that, about doing things off of the platforms as well to make sure that you're owning some of your content? And how do you feel about this whole TikTok thing going away? Like, how much is that going to affect your business?
I don't think it's going to go away. And if it does, so be it. I don't think that your TikTok followers are the same as your Instagram followers. Like I said before, you have a lot more opportunity to teach and build relationships on Instagram because of all the different features and the long form video that lives there. If TikTok was to go away, I'd be okay. I'd be fine. I mean, I do encourage everyone to use the same name on all of their platforms so that people can easily find them, and also have an email list so that you can contact them if something was to happen to your account.
That's a great point. And that's something that I've been working on as well, is building a list. And it's not easy. It's not as easy as it used to be. But it is very important to have something that you own. Okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit and just strictly talk about top video tips. So
okay.
I mentioned this in the intro, and that is that my top tip that you've given that I've seen on your Instagram is to not start your videos with the phrase, "I'm so excited," because the reason for that is that it takes the focus off of who you're trying to serve and puts the focus on yourself. And something that my top tip for my clients is less about you, more about what you can provide. And I think that's a very similar way of saying what I've been saying. And I'd love to just hear you talk about that a little bit. Like, did you figure that out because you yourself were doing it and you thought,
yes,
people aren't liking this? Or, okay, so yes. So, okay, I'll let you talk about that.
I would say 90% of the stuff that I've taught not to do, I've done it at some point.
Okay.
But I also pay really close attention to how I consume content, what annoys me, what gets me to swipe. And then that's when I come up with content ideas, because people need to know, one of the things that I used to see, and again, I don't watch people on TikTok like I used to, but I used to see people go, "Stop scrolling," or "Hey, TikTokers." And that does not give me any value or tell me why I should watch you. And it may have worked for the first 500,000 people who did that, but it doesn't work anymore. What happens is our brains, especially on social media, when there's so much information coming at us, our brains naturally start to select what we want to hear. And if we've heard it 1,000 times, "Hey, everybody, happy Friday," all that stuff is white noise. And it's not going to get anyone's attention. But if you immediately tell the person why they should watch, how you're about to help them, they're much more likely to watch. That's why I encourage you to always use the word "you" and or "your" in your first sentence, because it makes it about the person watching.
That's an amazing,
and they're more likely to watch.
That's another one. And I've started doing that too, even in my Instagram captions. But it's so funny because it's like everyone I watch says, "I'm so excited," even in their post. And you know what? I did it in my IGTV about my ebook launch. The very first thing I said was, "I'm so excited to share this ebook." And now I'm just like, oh, I can't believe
I'm sure if you go look at my videos, I'm sure I said it 1,000 times at some point as well. So we don't know until we know. And it's okay to just say, "Okay, well, we'll do that again," and move on.
Right. And something else that you talk a lot about in terms of your tips is likability, I think. And I don't know that you say it in that exact way, but what you said when I asked you about your past and how you'd gotten from there until now, you said, "I cared so much about what I looked like physically. I wanted to be perfect." And I think that's something that we can all relate to. I mean, we all want to be the hot girl. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
We all want to look our best. We want to make sure our hair is perfect. I'm super guilty of that. But looking beautiful on camera is not the same thing as being likable on camera. And you are so likable on camera. And I think that is what draws people to you. And I mean, it's obviously something that you've learned how to do, whether it was as being an anchor or just over time on video of like, what are people relating to? But what are some of the top tips that you would say in terms of likability? Like, what do you think makes people tune in and not be annoyed, if that makes sense? And that's something that you've actually said, don't say, does that make sense? I mean, my God, I like clearly need your video school.
This one seems so simple, but smiling is so important, especially for women. Men, not as much, but women, we have to smile at some point.
There's always a double standard.
Yeah, especially if you have resting bitch face like I do. Like, I look pissed at the world if I'm not smiling.
Same. Oh my God, same.
I don't think you should, and I have to remind myself of this. People don't want to see perfect and polished and all put together. And it's a lie anyway, because I am not perfect and polished and all put together. When I'm doing really well in one area of my life, something else is falling to the wayside. Always. There's no such thing as balance. And I encourage, no, I don't encourage, I teach my students at least once a week or once every 10 days, you need to get out there and get vulnerable. And it's not the woe is me show, and it's not the negative Nancy. It is, this is the real thing. This is like the post you talked about. Talk about your transformation. And it can even be a recent struggle, but at some point before you finish that post or video, there better be an uplifting or a valuable tip in there to turn it around and make it about the person watching. It's not about ranting and venting. It's about letting people know that you've not always been this way. You know, people think that I have always been confident on camera. No, when I started off in Missoula, Montana, I was extremely nervous to the point I did have to smile so big because my face would shake so much. If I didn't, it would look like I was having a seizure. I mean, that's how bad it was. Yes. We don't all, I mean, there are some things that we're naturally good at, but most of the time we have to work at something to get good at it. So don't ever think that someone that like you said at the very beginning of this, that someone who's taken off was just an overnight success. I worked really hard to grow my audience. I worked really hard on TikTok to test the algorithm, test videos. I'm now taking old videos that did well and I'm redoing them and making them even shorter. I'm constantly testing, and that's what makes it fun for me because I'm not worried so much about a video failing anymore. I just see, oh, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? And then I move on. I like to check the analytics. And
that's actually my next question is about analytics. How do you measure whether something's a success? Is it through likes or shares or comments? Like, what is your number one measure?
Well, first and foremost, there are some videos that I'm proud of that may not have done well, and that's okay. But on TikTok, you want to go into the analytics and look at the average watch time. And you want to see, how did they watch the majority of the video? If it's a really short video, you have to be aware that if it's a 10 to 11 second video, the algorithm's not just going to boost it out just because somebody watched the whole thing. Now they have to rewatch it. So that's the little thing about going too short with the video. So you watch that. You also watch to see if it only showed to your followers, or did it actually not only hit, it'll hit the For You page, but how long did it stay there? You'll know if you go and look at who watched the video, if all of them say follow back, okay, you hit the For You page because they're most likely not your followers. Mm-hmm. And so that's one thing that I look on TikTok, and I'll go back and look at the videos that did really well, and I'll double down on that kind of content. I'll do more of that type of content. I was testing my comedy stuff on TikTok several months back, and it wasn't doing that well. And so I had to regroup and see, okay, how do I still put into comedy, but not too much comedy, and make it educational? So that's what you see now today, because once I got that mastered on TikTok, when Reels hit, that's why my videos took off, because I mastered it I mean, it was been a year on TikTok figuring this stuff out. But on Instagram, it is the amount of times people share and save a video. And just like on TikTok, well, that's sharing, but when they tag people on the post as well, that's also considered sharing. So and the videos that do really well when it comes to sharing are usually the ones where I call out people and trigger them. And I tell them what they're doing wrong, with a smile though, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And the other thing is, if you watch my videos, there's straight Virginia. She's the instructor. And then I try, in the majority of my videos, it doesn't always happen, but I try to have the person doing it wrong. And that's the mistake Virginia. So again, not taking myself too seriously, going back to the likability factor. Yes. I think because people can see that I make fun of myself, and that it's easier probably to like me than if I was always just telling you what to do and acting like I had it all together.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, so let's talk about video school, because that is something that's a course right now that I think I'm going to take it. I haven't decided yet. I may do one-on-one and then do video school, or vice versa. We'll talk about it. But you also do one-on-one coaching. So tell everybody how they can take video school, how they can work with you one-on-one, and where to find you.
Well, I have a website called This is Virginia Kerr. This is virginiakerr.com. So you can find it there. It's the link to video school is in my bio on Instagram as well. And what was happening was I've been coaching for over a year, and I kept getting the same questions over and over and over. And I knew I needed to do a course. And I launched the course as a live course where I would train live every week. And then I was about to launch it again right when, I mean, literally the day I launched is when everything shut down with COVID. And so I slammed it, but hey, everything happens for a reason. We're right where we're supposed to be. I'm so grateful that it did not happen, because I've learned so much since then. I can give so much more in this course, and you have lifetime access. So anytime something changes, or if I go and do a new tutorial, you'll have it for life. So that's what's nice about it. It's a digital course now, and it takes you through everything from figuring out your topics and what you should be even talking about to really build that brand with video. And we lay the foundation for that. And not just on video, I teach you how to effectively storytell and captions as well, and written posts as well. And then it takes you through all of the different types of videos, IGTV, Reels, TikTok, Live, all of that. And I encourage people, if they don't know how to do all that, take the course first. And you can add on a discounted rate of one-on-one coaching with the course. And we do have live training once a week, but it's a Q&A session. So people watch the modules and then they come on. I do video critiques, or I'll pull up people's videos and watch them and critique them there. So it's very helpful. And I also have guest trainers who come on the live trainings as well. And there's a Facebook group where you can post your videos and get feedback from the group. So you're not alone in it.
So where can people find you on Instagram and TikTok?
It's all at This is Virginia Kerr.
Great.
Unless you want to go back to the old silly account on TikTok, that's
of course.
Also this is Virginia Kerr with one R, because there's a little piece of me missing there. I'm not all there on that one. I'm a little messed up.
Oh my God, amazing.
So my last name is Kerr. So this is Virginia Kerr with 2 R's, unless you want that one, and then it's just 1 R.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. This has been so valuable. I'm really happy to share this with all my clients and everybody that subscribes to the Story Group newsletter. Thank you so much.